Rolex founder Hans Wilsdorf created the Tudor brand in 1946 to provide a lower-priced offering with looks and quality that rivaled the Crown. Tudor was sold alongside Rolex at authorized dealers until 2004 when it was discontinued in the US. All that changed a few years ago when Tudor announced its return to the States. The poor man's Rolex was back, and the Heritage Black Bay was the third watch to round out the brand's introduction. Rolex watches are often regarded among the finest mass-produced items in the world, and I'm astounded at how much of the Rolex experience you get for the price of Tudor's Black Bay. With the Heritage Black Bay, Tudor introduced a diver that celebrated Tudor's diving history, spanning a few key references, in a single tribute. It's a culmination of two historic watches born in the middle of the 20th century, the 7922 and the 7021. It's from the 7922 that the Black Bay inherits the big crown, bezel, and dial. The last signature characteristic, the snowflake hands, are borrowed from the 7021. As it is a heritage release, the dial and case exude vintage. The bezel, dial, and hands are designed to appear aged, and in some cases the styling is subtle. In the right light, the black dial transforms to a rich chocolate, pairing extraordinarily well with the gilt marking and hands. At other times, the vintage cues are more obvious, as in the maroon 60-click bezel, the creamy lume, and the peaceful absence of a date window. Although it's meant to echo Tudor's divers of yesteryear, its elements are not faded by any means. Beneath a perfectly clear sapphire lens, the colors are fairly rich and amount to a striking execution that you just have to see to believe. The brushed and polished steel case seems to be of no frills, save for its oyster technology borrowed from its parent company, but the subtleties of the case grow on you. The crown is big and unguarded. The 8mm crown, signed with the same Tudor rose as is on the dial, isn't smothered by two chunks of steel and therefore offers a more elegant shape. Pragmatically, the result is a crown that doesn't get any easier to use. And finally, the case is simple, but not without its class, as beveled edges separate the polished sides from the brushed top. Now, Tudor doesn't have access to all of Rolex's technology, its in-house calibers topping the list. Inside the Black Bay ticks caliber 2824, a top-grade ETA 2824 movement. On the one hand, you may feel the price tag is steep for such a ubiquitous, although reliable movement. On the other, it's only part of the Black Bay's package. And that's how I would encourage you to look at this fact, because the rest of it, the whole watch, absolutely exceeds expectations. The Black Bay comes on either a stainless steel oyster-style bracelet or a distressed leather strap with deployant buckle. Both come with a textile strap similar to a NATO, but it's not, and frankly it's way better. Both the leather and fabric straps lend the most vintage appeal, but the oyster bracelet offers the Black Bay a slightly more modern and active look. The bracelet is another aspect of the Rolex experience you get with this watch. In addition to a beautifully finished oyster case, the Black Bay comes with one of the nicest steel bracelets for the price point. There's no glide lock here like on the Submariner, but there is fine adjustment for a comfortable fit. The Heritage Black Bay retails for $3,425 on the bracelet and $3,100 on the leather strap. Even slightly educated buyers are likely to balk at the price tag. Why pay so much for a watch housing a movement found in watches that command fractions of the price? This is by far the online community's largest concern with the Black Bay. And while it's nice to look at and discuss watches online, these conversations tend to be grounded in facts. And these facts are used to pave shortcuts to opinions so we can make sense of the watch world. When we can't all look at and hold the same watches at the same time, and because people like making lists and arguing, we need to know what's good, better, and best. The result is that we form opinions that are frankly reductive, dangerous, and unfair. That's because it's hard to debate how a watch looks or feels on the wrist. You know, that feeling you get when you're head over heels for your watch and you keep stealing looks at it during meetings? Yeah, that feeling? That infatuation is all that matters when it comes to wristwatches, right? But the technical merits of parachrome hairsprings or coaxial escapements are much easier to talk about and for everyone to understand. Listen, reductive feature-by-feature comparisons make sense sometimes, like when we buy cable modems. But not when we're talking about fine wristwatches like the Black Bay. We need to be considering the whole watch before we write it off as overpriced. The chocolatey gilt dial with creamy luminous paint, the proud but invisible dome sapphire crystal, the big unguarded crown protruding from an expertly finished stainless steel oyster case. and yes, the proven and serviceable movement inside of it. These details work together in a way to form a wristwatch that punches way above its weight class in terms of design, fit, and finish.